Get ready to witness a legendary batting performance by Greg Chappell as he takes on Pakistan with an incredible 201 runs off 296 balls. Over 417 minutes, the Australian great batsman displayed remarkable patience, skills and determination. With his flawless technique, he struck 6 beautiful boundaries, building a marathon innings that left the opposition struggling. This unforgettable knock came in the first innings of the second test at Brisbane, played from November 27 to December 1st, 1981. Watch as Greg Chappell takes charge, dominating the game with his sheer brilliance and unwavering focus in this unforgettable battle against Pakistan's powerful bowling attack.
And Greg Chappell on 66, and so a century in this match will bring him on to equal second in the history of century makers in first-class cricket in Australia. That's a pretty useful record. That one flicked away on the leg side, very square, and they'll certainly get 2, might even look for the 3rd. Badassa, the fieldsman down there.
That was a pretty brave shot early on in the day. Chappell just whipping that off his pads, and you can see jumping in the air and playing slightly across the line of the ball to a delivery that kept a little bit low and cut back into him. But such is his touch at the moment that he middled it perfectly and just steered it away on the onside.
That one outside off stump, beautifully played. 3 men out there, but Chappell finding the gap, and that's 4.
Well, whether the ball moves or not, a half volley is still a half volley, and it goes for 3 for 291. New ball taken in the 86th over. So Imran was just warming up with those first few overs, but I just wonder what the thoughts of the Pakistan batsmen are now. They were at one stage 4 wickets down for 236, and they lost their last 6 wickets.
Sikandar with the new ball. That one swings away and Greg Chappell murders it. It was a short ball wide outside off stump. He murders it and it goes flying away to the boundary. So that's his century, and a chance for the century at that. Very, very well played by Greg Chappell. My goodness, Frank, didn't he hit that?
That's Greg Chappell's 19th century of his Test career. He must be getting used to the feeling.
It can be a bit of a danger area because the tendency is perhaps to relax a little bit, and it depends a lot on the situation of the game. But usually, having got that far, it's still very important from the team's point of view that you keep it going, so you really try and start the concentration all over again.
Greg Chappell's 19th Test century places him 3rd in the honours list behind Bradman, who scored 29 Test centuries, Neil Harvey 21, 98.
Chappell now has the strike. One short and beautifully played by Chappell, right over the top of that ball, cutting it away square down to the 3rd man boundary. So 4 more to Chappell. That's his 13th 4, and he's looking very aggressive.
A commanding stroke, placed perfection just to the right hand of Gully, and speeding away to this short boundary, square of the wicket, at the Gabba ground. You really cannot afford to give Chappell that much width and bowl that short.
Sikandar to Greg Chappell.
Chappell nicking that away fine as Wazimbari drives to try and cut it off, but doesn't succeed, and the ball races away down to the very fine leg boundary. So 4 more to Chappell, and the score moves on to 308. And vice versa. That's a good shot by Chappell. Forced off the back foot there, and Raja not quick enough to cut it off. The ball going down to the mid-on boundary, mid-off boundary. Well played. Beautifully played, and my goodness, that's a pretty ordinary effort there by Zahir. He looked as if he wasn't sure whether to put his foot down or not in case he got bruised. That one raced away, and Zahir very tentative about cutting it off.
Failed to trap the ball. In fact, it didn't look enthusiastic at all about getting that foot down. So 6 4s to Greg Chappell off the last 22 deliveries which he's received.
That one Whipped away square this time. Yandad's after it and Chappell get 2. Well, he's looking more and more confident that each ball is bowled, and he's certainly beating Sikandar as if he really was bowling very slow medium pace. And whipped away on the onside, and that's the end of it.
Imran Khan bowling to Greg Chappell.
Whips that nicely down. Big fine leg. Knocked down by Raja and 2 runs. Fine return.
Wasim Raja to Chappell.
Chappell breaks the shackles, comes down the wicket, lops over long on. Greg Chappell in complete control. Moves on to 130.
Sarfraz to Chappell.
And he drives him beautifully off the half volley through cover, made his own length. 18 fours to Greg Chappell, and Sarfraz is pitching short of a length, but Chappell was there.
A good example of the batsman deciding to make his own length there, standing just a bit further out of the crease. But the most important thing was once he got the half volley, that not only was the timing there, but the placement. You can waste all that effort, but if you don't place it, you don't get much result for it. But even with a deep mid-off, that absolutely raced into the fence.
Beats him, cuts back, good delivery, but slower. Sarfraz can't believe his luck. Good bowling to a man on 135.
That was a good piece of bowling there by Sarfraz. Slowed it up slightly, swung a little in the air in towards Greg Chappell and kept coming off the seam. In the end, Greg Chappell was trying to dab it away down to third man. Perhaps a little lucky that he didn't get an inside edge, because that may have knocked it back onto the off stump. We've seen 3 men out by knocking the ball onto their stumps. Zahir, Javed and Alan Border have all been out in that fashion so far on this Gabba pitch.
Good shot. Waited for that one and swatted it back to the square. Racing away to the square leg boundary for 4 runs. Just can't bowl offline to Greg Chappell today. Just with a short of a length at the stumps.
Greg Chappell standing out of his crease when he bats, and really giving Sarfraz something to think about. Sarfraz trying to adjust to that length, has banged it in a fraction short, just slightly towards leg stump, and Greg Chappell very strong in that area.
Wasim Raja to Chappell.
Works that nicely to Ijaz back to point. The throws to the wrong end, and that's very sloppy cricket. Nobody backing up. So here at deep long on does the fielding. 2 to Chappell.
4 for 348. It's Greg Chappell on strike. He's 144. Added to that 89 overnight. 55 runs so far today for Greg Chappell. Didn't get that, but he's shot at 2, and we'll get it quite easily. Ball just going straight on there, no spin from the leg for Wasim Raja. So Greg Chappell put Raja straight down the ground the last over, looking very much to try and get on top of the leg spinner. Sarfraz to Chappell. And there's the 150. And Greg Chappell out of form prior to the start of this test match, but a player very much in form now. Producer of many centuries in front of this Gabba crowd. 150 runs off 215 balls, 295 minutes, and completely dominated proceedings this morning. 61 he scored today. With 2 there at least. In fact, it'll beat Sikandar. It was a really good shot because it put the ball outside leg stump. Footwork and timing were perfect, and virtually a stand-up sweep shot. Didn't go down that back leg, and it's great timing, and timing only of a man that's got 100 behind his name today. Greg Chappell just helping it on its way, picking up the line and just clipping it behind square leg.
with 167 against his name. 4 for 387, 167 to Chappell, 21 to Wellham. Man out this morning was Kim Hughes for 28. Ijaz bowling to Greg Chappell.
That one run away off the face of the bat down towards third man. Zahir is limping slightly there, chasing it down towards the third man boundary. So 2 to Chappell.
Javed Miandad to Chappell.
Down the leg side, and Chappell sweeping that fine down towards the boundary and beating the fieldsman down there for 4. It looks like Sikandar down there, and so that's Greg Chappell's 21st boundary for the sweep shot.
It's a shot that Greg Chappell has only really started to play in the last season or two. The sweep hits that one pretty well. Great attempt there from Sikandar. It was pretty well placed and pretty well timed by Greg Chappell. He preferred to on drive rather than sweep in the earlier days of his career.
It's out on the offside. Ijaz there, stretching out his left hand but missing. And so a single to Greg Chappell. That's the end of Miandad. So these two now put on 108. Chappell, of course, made most of those. Wellham on 28. Chappell drives another single.
Certainly have been some rather easy runs around with these field placings.
Well, the Australians in a beautiful position now. Sarfraz to Chappell, and Chappell slashes that wide down towards the point boundary for 4.
Greg Chappell really slamming that square drive into the point fence. That takes him to 187. I don't think there was too many Pakistanis too thrilled about that innings. 196 that you see there. There was quite a few of them who felt that I was out once or twice before I'd reached double figures.
Oh, and he's dropped him. One hit straight back to Sarfraz, who was roping there as he leant forward. The ball deflecting down to mid-off, and Chappell got one.
Well, nearly 87, nearly striking there. 187. Greg Chappell driving that one on the rise, managing to keep it down. Sarfraz just a little slow to react. So an opportunity goes begging.
So the highest record on Australian soil are I.M. Chappell, 196. Greg Chappell now equals it. They're keeping it in the family.
Imran Khan to Chappell. And there it is. It goes to 197, the highest scorer in the history of tests between Australia and Pakistan in this country. Khan is to bowl to Greg Chappell.
Majid beginning a new over and immediately conceding the single run to Greg Chappell. Now with 200 runs on the very near horizon, he's becoming just a little bit more circumspect. Around the wicket Majid now from the Stanley Street end, the left-hander Mar. 2 runs for Chappell's 200. Well, certainly Greg Chappell not underestimating Majid at this stage of his innings.
Very fast throw there from a very short distance. I don't think Wazimbari would be too happy about that.
It wasn't a bad throw. It was a fair height, but it was certainly coming in at a rate of knots. The end of a fairly tight match at over 5 for 443. Well, there was a show of defiance for you. Imran determined not to give anything away easily. And digging that ball in very short indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if that ball pitched in the same half of the wicket as Imran himself. It did quite easily, didn't it? It was closer to Imran than it was to the batsman. So both of the men in the action at the moment have ambitions and goals ahead of them.
To Greg Chappell. Here's Bill Lurry.
Thank you, Richie. And Greg Chappell on 198. Tremendous concentration. Conditions very hot. Fine example for his teammates. One at least. Goes to 199. Please take.
Greg Chappell only one run away now from the 200 in front of his home crowd, and Javed Miandad presenting it to him. Much longer play. Greg Chappell very content to just pick up those singles, and that's been his mode of this innings since
99. In fact, he's not going to come on. Imran is going to continue, so Imran suggesting he'd like to bowl at this man until he's at least 200. I'm going to ask for the extra gully. And we see now the field in. The winger fieldsman on the offside, the gully rather deep. Beaten it off, finally brought up for Greg Chappell on 199.
Greg Chappell entering this game, an out-of-form batsman.
Johnson not in.
Onto that front foot, but perhaps the ball doing a little too much. It was a great delivery from Imran Khan. In fact, it's been a very good over. So far, 5 deliveries. Greg Chappell looking for that single, hasn't been able to get it. And to cop a good delivery like that, shows what a great bowler Imran Khan is.
And there it is, in front of the home crowd, a magnificent 200. Tremendous ovation.
A great innings by Greg Chappell. Getting a single through that vacant gully area. 200 runs, 22 boundaries. Very severe earlier on today. 293 balls faced. Just a clap from Wazimbari. Word of congratulation from him. And of course, Greg Chappell joining a very elite band there, Bill.
I'll say it's Bradman, Stackpole, Chappell, Bradman, Norman O'Neill making big scores at the Gabba, but tremendous satisfaction for the Australian captain. He said he'd make his bat do the talking when he was out of form. He's certainly done that. 4 double centuries in Test cricket. And he whips that down to 100 deep fine leg. And the crowd today have really seen a master batsman in action. It's been very warm. He's played all the shots. Drove beautifully, cut, deflected on the onside. Tremendous concentration from this man. Under. It's in the air, and he's out. finally falls at 201. Secunda just short of a length. He whipped it away, and Zahir dives and takes a good catch. What a magnificent innings from Greg Chappell. 200 in front of the home crowd at the Gabba. A very pleased Australian captain, and well he might be. Falls at 448 for 6.
Standing ovation from his home crowd and every Pakistan player applauding him off the field. Got a pat on the back from Javed Miandad. Tremendous concentration power shown by this great Australian batsman. Walks off, 201 to his credit. Smith trying to whip it away off Secunda. Through mid-wicket. Secunda just brought back into the attack. Trying to tweak it away there and providing Zahir with a nice comfortable catch, even though he did sprawl at the end. Trying to clip it away, as we've seen so many times in this innings, and Zahir just getting it there and making it a little bit more difficult at the end. So Secunda's first wicket, exit Greg Chappell, 201.
First break in concentration from the Australian skipper.
The pressure was high, the bowling attack was fierce, but Greg Chappell remained unshaken, crafting a true masterpiece that left cricket fans in baffle. His performance not only steered Australia towards a commanding position but also cemented his legacy as one of the greatest batsmen of his time. He was part of the famous cricketing family with his brother Ian Chappell and Trevor Chappell, also representing Australia at the international level. As a right-handed batsman, Greg Chappell had a near-perfect technique and a graceful playing style. His ability to time the ball with precision made him one of the most aesthetically pleasing batsmen of his era. He was particularly strong on the drive and flick, excelling in both attacks and defense. His calm presence at the crease and ability to adapt to different match situations made him a key player for Australia. Greg Chappell made his Test debut against England in 1970, making an immediate impact by scoring a century, 108 runs in his very first innings. Over his career, he played 87 Test matches, scoring 7,110 runs at an impressive average of 53.86, including 24 centuries. In One-Day International, he played 74 matches, accumulating 2,331 runs at an average of 40.18, with 3 centuries to his name. His highest Test score was 247 against New Zealand in 1974, and one of his most memorable innings was his 201 run against Pakistan in Brisbane in 1981. As a leader, Greg Chappell captained Australia in 48 Test matches, securing 21 victories. His strategic mindset and ability to handle pressure made him a respectable figure in world cricket. However, his career was not without controversies. He is often remembered for his infamous underarm incident in 1981, when he instructed his brother Trevor to bowl an underarm delivery against New Zealand in an ODI to prevent a last ball 6. This incident remains one of the most debated moments in cricketing history. After retiring in 1984, Greg Chappell transitioned into coaching and administrations. He served as a coach and selector for Australian cricket and also took on the role of head coach for the Indian national team from 2005 to 2007. His tenure with India was marked by controversies and conflict with senior players, making it a turbulent period in Indian cricket. Despite the controversies, Greg Chappell's legacy as a cricketer remains untarnished. He is widely regarded as one of the finest batsmen in cricket history, and his contribution to Australian cricket continue to inspire future generations. His remarkable records, leadership qualities, and stylish batting ensure his place among the greats of the game. If you like this video, please comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.